Verse 55, when Saul saw David going out against the Philistine, he said to Abner, the commander of the army, Abner, whose son is this youth? The final verses of the chapter have long perplexed both scholar and reader alike. Indeed, many fall back on the supposition that they are not a part of the original text, being lacking in the Greek translation of it, thus supposedly demonstrating that they are not original. Others simply dismiss them with no commentary or very little commentary, hoping to avoid the dilemma altogether. The reason for this is that in chapter 16, David had already been introduced to Saul and is tended to him during his time of mental affliction. There are several possibilities concerning this. The first is that Saul here focuses on who David's father is. Unless one is sharp and has a great memory, he may have simply forgotten where David came from and who his father is. The verses here never ask who David is, just who his father is. If David prevailed in the battle, he would need to know who his family was to be given his daughter and exempted from taxes in Israel. A second option is that the accounts are not necessarily chronological, and this is actually likely. The events are being tied together categorically in order to present David logically in relation to how events fall into a greater picture of his life and also of redemptive history. David is anointed king by Samuel. At some point, his brothers are in the camp awaiting battle with the Philistines. David comes to the camp and eventually becomes the hero of the battle. During that time, Saul asks whose son he is. Afterwards, this portion of the narrative ends. Eventually, Saul has gone or goes into fits of mental depression. It is found that the same person who was the hero against Goliath also has other skills and is called into permanent service under Saul. This supposition seems refuted by the opening words of chapter 18. Jonathan is mentioned there. But that too may not be chronological. Jonathan is never mentioned in relation to David before that chapter, and thus taking it chronologically still omits any hint of how the two met. It is true the order is difficult, but it is no more difficult than understanding that the time frames of events, such as in chapter 16, could have been over a period of many years. Verse 55 continues, and Abner said, as your soul lives, O king, I do not know. Abner comes from two words, Av, or father, and Ner, meaning a lamp. Thus, it means something like father is a lamp, or it could even be extended to say father is light. As Abner's father is named Ner, meaning lamp, it may simply be my father is light. As Abner doesn't have any idea about who David's father is, the narrative continues.